Morena. Can everyone hear me? Is it working now? Oh no. Morena, everyone. Oh. Is it okay if I just speak loudly? Okay, perfect. Maybe the fairies backstage can get this working in a few moments. Okay, morena koutou katoa, ko te hirau te maunga, ko Waihariki te moana, ko mātātua te waka, ko te whānau opanui tuku iwi, ko kautangahia te marae, ko Waiariki tuku whānau, ko mana tuku ingoa. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mana Waiariki, and I am one of the 6 fellows following alongside the Michael Hill International Violin Competition this year and presenting the second Insider's Guide, Up Close to the Chasm. Thank you to those who are joining us here this morning from the Queenstown Memorial Centre, and kia ora to those who are joining us on the live stream. I'd like to thank the Adam Foundation for their generosity in supporting myself and the other New Zealand-based fellows to be here for this competition. I'd also like to thank the Michael Hill International Violin Competition, Lady Christine Hill and the late Sir Michael Hill for making this competition a part of the international music community. Today, I have the honour of hosting a Q&A with the Michael Hill International Violin Competition's 2026 commissioned composer, Salina Fisher. Salina Fisher is an award-winning New Zealand composer whose works are frequently performed worldwide. Drawing from her background as a multi-instrumentalist of mixed Japanese heritage, her highly evocative music often involves collaborations, notably with the Taonga Poro practitioners, which are traditional Māori instruments.
Hello. Oh yes, this is working.
Is this working? Oh, yay! Okay. Selena, thank you so much for joining me today, this morning. And I think it's all very exciting to have an insider's guide from your brain as well and your work that you've written for the competition this year. Can you tell us briefly about yourself and where you grew up, where you studied, and what inspired you to take on a career in composition?
Yes. Firstly, it's so exciting to be here, and thank you all for being here and anyone who's tuning in. It's been amazing already. I actually grew up in the South Island, so this is really special. I grew up in Christchurch, and I grew up playing violin and piano and composing from a young age. And then I moved to Wellington to do my undergrad in violin and composition. Stayed there for a bit. I did a master's in New York and then came back, and I've been based in Wellington and composing and teaching and things. Yeah, I think I've known for a long time that I've wanted to compose. I've been doing it since I was very little, so it's something that I've always done alongside performing. I think that's really how I got into it, is writing for these amazing performer friends that I grew up around, and that has just, continued.
That is amazing. I love the life trajectory and how your life has led to this moment where you're composing for the Michael Hill, and it is one of the most prestigious violin competitions. And I'm guessing when you were growing up in Christchurch, you maybe listened or watched some of the competition rounds in Queenstown. Did you ever think that you were going to be contributing to this competition 25 years on?
Yeah, I've definitely been aware of the competition for a long time. I've never been able to actually be here to watch all the rounds like this, so this is really, really special. I've always known about and been really excited about the New Zealand commissions. There's such an amazing collection now from over the years of all the New Zealand works, which are all amazing pieces. So it's really special to be part of this competition this year, but also for me to be part of that collection, that growing collection of solo violin pieces. It's something I've sort of really looked up to for a long time, and it's amazing to be part of it this time. Yeah.
It's amazing. So your piece that's been commissioned, Chasm, what struck your inspiration for this piece, and could you tell us a little bit about your composition process for this year?
Yeah, so this piece, I was asked to write a piece for this competition, which it has to be a challenge in some way for the competitors, which is a tricky thing to do because they are just so amazing. They can really do anything that's possible on violin. And they have a lot of other technical challenges in their other repertoire. So I thought about what could be challenging maybe in a different way. I'm not used to really prioritizing virtuosity necessarily in my work. I work with all kinds of other things as well, but that was a great challenge. And I sort of thought about, I didn't want the virtuosity to be sort of for virtuosity's sake. And I sort of play a lot when I write. A lot of it comes from improvisation and then kind of working from there. And I am also always thinking about what feels relevant and like what I want to express and say and what feels urgent. And with this piece, Chasm, I had actually visited a chasm sort of around the time that I was working on this near Wellington, so a chasm is a split in the earth. Which is very dramatic, and just to be in there, I was thinking a lot also about the state of the world that we find ourselves in today, and how troubling and how divided that is, and how that felt like such a metaphor for things going on in the world at the moment. And this was a way of expressing that. The piece is very intense and dark. It's very emotional, and the virtuosity kind of comes out from that intensity. It was very difficult to write from a technical level perspective, but also just emotionally, it was so intense. So it was quite an experience to write this, and it's been amazing already. I've yesterday heard 4 violinists, just to hear my music being played on that kind of level has been amazing and really interesting. My score is very detailed, and I sort of wondered if I'd left much room for interpretation, because it's, there's lots of markings about, dynamics and tempo and all these kinds of things. But it was really interesting yesterday because everyone's playing so beautifully and accurately, and the score is very detailed, and even then there's a lot of room for different musical interpretation. So it's been fascinating, and I'm really curious to hear other interpretations coming up over the next few days.
It's so interesting because the thing that I love about playing new music is working with the composer, and these competitors don't have a chance to have a one-on-one with you and to talk through everything, but they also don't get to do that for Bach or Paganini. But the difference is that you're here and you're listening to everyone. How does it make you feel that you kind of everything that you want to say is put in your score?
Yeah, it's interesting. When I write a new piece, I do like to work. Usually I write for a performer or an ensemble, and I have a chance to talk about the piece verbally, maybe workshop it with them. But you're right, in this case, I haven't talked to any of the competitors. There isn't that process. But that happens now. My music gets played by people far away who I've never met and I have no contact with. So that's happening in some cases as well, which is something to get used to. This is really interesting to see how people interpret just the notation and the program note, I guess, but without any of my input beyond that. But I hope I get a chance to meet the competitors. I'd love to hear from them afterwards. Because I always love that process of working with them. So it's kind of interesting and strange to sit there in the same room, having not been able to talk to them earlier. But it is really fascinating to see what that does to the process in terms of, it's just the score. It's that's all they have to go off. Yeah.
I think it's really amazing just to note how global your music is being played to pieces all around the world. There's New Zealand-based conductors like Jem and you who are taking on your pieces, for example, Rain Phase, and she's taking it around to different orchestras of the world that she gets to work with, and I think it's just really incredible that a composer from New Zealand like yourself has all these pieces played and putting us on the map with that, so I think that's really cool. Speaking of composition, you are the first commissioned composer for this competition was Dame Gillian Whitehead, and we actually haven't had a composer who was a woman since then, so how does that kind of make you feel that you mentioned it before about how you're contributing to this legacy and this collection of music? How do you feel being selected and I guess being seen as one of the pioneers of composition in the New Zealand world?
I really look up to Dame Gillian Whitehead, so it's amazing that she was the first one. And it's also interesting that there hasn't been another woman composer until now. Thank you for pointing that out. I hope over the next many years of this competition that there will be many more women composers. I think it's really important if we want our art to reflect society and our experiences that we include all kinds of voices and perspectives. I remember I worked part-time at Sounds for a little bit back in the day, and part of my job there was to go through the audio archives of New Zealand music, and so I remember coming across these recordings as well, and just really looking up to this incredible catalogue of New Zealand compositions for violin, and to contribute to that now is
we were chatting yesterday and we were talking about how so Salina is a violinist, and she is a violinist of the Moth Quartet, who had recently been nominated for an Aotearoa Music Award for Best Classical Artist. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And the ceremony was a couple days ago.
Yes.
And you were talking about how cool it was that all the other nominees, Anthony Ritchie, Michael Norris, and yourself and your quartet, how there's like a little ecosystem and a circle of. Could you be able to just reiterate what you told me?
Yes. So I'm part of a quartet called Moth Quartet. We were one of the finalists for Best Classical Artist this year, and the winner of that category was Michael Norris, who taught all of us in the Moth Quartet individually as composers. And then his teacher, Anthony Ritchie, was one of the other finalists. So there's this beautiful lineage of composition teaching. We're a very sort of close-knit community in New Zealand of composers. We all know each other. It's really lovely. And
it's really lovely that you're all. It really just shows how small the music world is, but and it was great because Michael Norris was the commissioned composer of the last Michael Hill with his piece Waiponamu, which was also an amazing piece. So I just thought it would be nice to bring that up.
Thank you.
And I think the last question is, we did hear some of the competitors playing your piece yesterday, but we've still got 12 more to go. Do you have any extra advice that you would offer them for how they can play it?
I've just been so impressed already, and I'm very impressed to hear that at least a couple of competitors coming up will be doing it from memory. It's a very detailed score, so that's just really mind-blowing to me. I think one of the things, even with all the detail and the notation, that it's going to be experienced and interpreted differently by different performers is the sense of phrasing, the sense of continuity and flow between different ideas, and also a kind of sense of the overall structure of the piece. So I feel like that's the biggest point of difference between different interpretations I've heard so far, but it's been really fascinating to hear what people have made of already the 4 performances, and I'm really looking forward to the rest.
I think the judges have a very difficult decision
Yeah.
with who gets the prize for the New
Right,
Zealand
yeah.
piece, as well as the rest of the competition. But it will be very interesting to see the results and to also hear the other competitors. So that wraps up the Insider's Guide for this morning. Salina, thank you so much again for joining me. And the competition rounds should start in a couple minutes from 10. We had a couple technical difficulties this morning with the live stream, so we would like to make sure that that's up and running properly for all our international viewers there. So thank you everyone for joining us this morning, and we'll see you very soon. Another round of applause for Salina Fisher, please.
Thank you.